The Camarillo Planning Commission on Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. If the secretary please call the roll.
Commissioner Talmadge.
Present.
Commissioner Murphy.
Here.
Commissioner Edsel.
Here.
Vice Chair Vandermeulen.
Present.
Chair Espinoza.
Here. Thank you. Nice to see everybody here tonight. And if we can have Commissioner Murphy lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, could everyone please rise and face the flag? And ready, begin.
Thank you. Okay, first item here is consent. If I can get a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, which was, June 14th, 2022, as presented in the packet.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Talmadge, seconded by Vice Chair Vandermeulen. For consent, please vote. Okay, we have 4 here and 1 abstention due to absence of the last meeting.
Correct.
Thank you. Next item is public comment. This is a time for any member of the public who might want to speak to the Planning Commission for anything not currently on the agenda. And do we have any speaker cards at all or any comments that came in late? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment and move on to our public hearings tonight. We have 2 items, starting with item B. On public hearing, this will be conditional use permit CUP 417, Dish Wireless. Adopt a resolution approving CUP 417. Can we have a staff report for that item?
Yes, our staff presentation will be made by our associate planner, Mike Sepak.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners. Welcome to my presentation on CUP 417 on the installation of a new camouflaged wireless facility here in Camarillo. An application was made by Jerry Ambrose of the Yukon Group for a conditional use permit to install a new camouflaged wireless facility at Mission Oaks Park located in a residential planned development 5 units per acre zone. The project site sits in the project site is a to-be-replaced light-for-light 70-foot tall floodlight pole located some 39 feet due west from the park pavilion, visible over here, and about 88 feet due north from the tennis courts, visible over here. Additional equipment is proposed inside an existing equipment enclosure located immediately to the north of the tennis courts, right over here. The existing site comprises of a 70-foot tall floodlight pole and a small enclosure building, which is almost entirely screened by mature landscaping. The image on the left shows the pole to be replaced, looking southeast, and the one on the right shows the existing equipment enclosure looking towards southwest. As previously outlined, the project entails the replacement, like for like, of an existing light pole. The current structure was previously the site of Royal Communications wireless facility approved by Planning Commission in 2010 under CUP 323. In 2015, the facility was decommissioned on request of the then owner, T-Mobile. The previously utilized light pole was the same size as the current proposal. Much like the current proposal, the original development consisted of a radome element located atop of the light pole and an associated equipment enclosure housing the cabinets. This site plan illustrates, the site plan shown on the slide illustrates the proposed radome on the top right, visible here, along with the existing connection leading towards the existing equipment enclosure in the bottom left of your screen, visible over here. The new facility would comprise of 3 antennas and 6 radio units. The proposal would see the existing enclosure, conduits, and electrical meter reused. The new equipment cabinets would be located inside the existing enclosure with no changes proposed to the structure of itself or the surrounding landscaping. As previously stated, the site is located in the RPD zone. This near single-family residence is located some 406 feet away. That would be somewhere over here. To the west, there's the Las Colinas Middle School, located some 433 feet, and Mission Oaks Boulevard, some 402 feet away from the project site. In terms of the proposed design, the image on the left illustrates how the property appears now, and the one on the right shows a photo simulation of the facility should it be permitted. Both views are as appreciated from the existing parking lot looking northwest towards the site. The project objective is to increase cellular signal coverage in the area. Dish Wireless are currently working on creating an entirely new mobile phone network, and this facility would be one of multiple projects the applicant is looking to implement across the area. The immediate objective of the project, visible here at bottom left, should be read in conjunction with the long-term objectives shown in the top right. The long-term objective graphic is in this case for reference only, with no projected coverage, with the projected coverage shown to illustrate how the facility located at Mission Oaks Park would relate to future proposals. The project has been reviewed against and found to comply with all relevant sections of CEQA. It is determined that the project is exempt from CEQA based on a Class 3 exemption. The staff recommend that the application be approved, subject to recommended conditions of approval. Finally, it is noted that the agenda report section on zoning contains a minor error in referencing the CMC section 19.76.040.A1. This will be amended to 19.76.040.A2. This concludes the staff's report.
Okay, thank you for that report. Let me open this up to any commissioner questions.
I had a question. It's my recollection that in that park, there's a couple light standards that have the antennas, and that one that was abandoned in 2015, was that? There's other ones there, aren't there now?
That's right. There's 2 other facilities, both of which required CUP.
And were they different owners? I mean, the owner just abandoned one of them, or was it a completely different owner?
So the one that was abandoned, or the owner at the time was T-Mobile, petitioned the city to remove the CUP. This was because they bought out the previous carrier, and they already had a facility within the vicinity, did not require it, therefore they requested that the facility be removed. There are 2 other facilities. Okay. One is about 181 feet away, and the other one's just over 300 feet away.
In my recollection, they're all on the light standard.
That's right. They're all in the same light standard, same height, and they're all camouflage facilities comprised of a radome.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Towns.
Yes, I have one question. I noticed that the cabinet for the equipment is some distance from where the tower is located. Is that going to require new trenching for new cable, or is existing cable going to be used, or?
The applicant proposes the reuse of the existing conduit.
Use the existing wiring?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. So what's there is compatible with the equipment?
That would be correct, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Murphy.
Right, I just have one question as well. With the antenna and the housing that will be going up there, is that basically the same size and at the same location on the pole as the previous facility?
It is not the exact same size. I believe the radome that was there before was 28 inches across and just over 12 foot tall. This one would be 17 foot 6 inches, I believe, and close to 6 foot in width. So this one's increased in size to that was there previously.
A little bit bigger?
A little bit bigger, yes.
Okay. The pole that it's going on is a little bit, it looks smaller than the other two poles that have full facilities on them, but I'm assuming that the applicant has already gone through the structural analysis or...
The applicant is going to submit the adequate structural plans to our Building and Safety Department, and this is why the pole is being replaced, to make sure that the engineering behind the pole is able to support the structure.
Oh, the pole's being replaced?
That's right, like-for-like replacement.
Oh, okay, I didn't pick up on that part, sorry. All right, thank you.
Yes, Ms. Vanderveen.
This is just kind of my thinking question. When I see that that'll be 3 poles total that have fixtures on them with different rays going out, radons, whatever. But you said they're all going to be the same height. All the poles are going to be the same height?
The light standards are all broadly around 70 foot in height,
And
yes.
then, I just because I don't understand this whole process, how do we get this many poles and maybe add more and not have them block each other?
Oh, in terms of the signal?
Yeah,
Well, so there's a frequency band that they will be utilizing.
okay,
And in my understanding is that that protects it from interference.
okay. Yeah, I just was picturing that and trying to figure out how they get around each other.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's some clever technology these days which triangulates those signals and ensures that they don't clash with each other. And I understand this is getting updated daily almost.
Okay.
And getting to a point where they can now actually soon will be able to beam the very specific signal that you requested, bounce it off the surrounding walls and beam it to your mobile device without interference with other signals alike.
All right, because in the future, I see there could possibly be more going up somewhere in this, vicinity, so, thank you.
Okay, so I understand that we will have a review process that entails a field within 60 days after they install it, after construction of this new tower that'll replace the existing one. And once that's done and that is verified by the parties that will review that and to ensure that the numbers are what they're supposed to be according to the preliminary reports and so forth. Does the FCC require any sort of follow, like on an annual basis or beyond that, to measure what's actually being emitted from towers like of this nature, do you know?
I am not aware what the FCC process is for ensuring continuous compliance, but I am aware that they require continuous compliance in all their facilities, in all facilities, wireless facilities. So for us, at the city level, we conditionally require the applicant to submit what's called a field-tested report. These are just like Commissioner outlined are projections, which are very solid, grounded in science. And that will, of course, be field tested within 60 days, and the report's going to be provided to us. I cannot determine what the FCC's procedures are for maintaining continuous compliance.
Okay, maybe the applicant might be able to shed more light. Okay, that's all we have for staff at this time? Okay, so at this time, we'll go ahead and open up public comment on this item. Do we have any, if the applicant would like to come forward, first of all.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jerry Ambrose with Yukon Group here on behalf of Dish Wireless. I don't have anything to add to Michael's presentation, and here to answer any questions you may have.
So if you heard the discussion, do you have any sort of information regarding whatever type of monitoring exists beyond the initial submittal report that's done, the data that's collected and submitted as part of the application, and then the follow-up verification within that 60-day period? Is there any further review that takes place on these types of facilities?
All I know is that when Dish or any carrier launches or puts a new site on air, they have to register that with the FCC. They have to show it all of their power and antenna frequency. They have to show all of that to the FCC as a registered facility. I'm not privy, I don't know what happens, if there's any additional registration requirements beyond that. I don't personally know that.
Okay, thank you. And that's all we have for you. Thank you so much. Do we have any speaker cards or public comments on this item? Okay, seeing none? We
Chair,
have one more
I had a
question.
question for Mr. Ambrose.
Okay.
So this is out of curiosity more than anything, but on the RF EMEs, they exceed the maximum threshold right at the facility, so that when you're standing on the ground, you're not in danger. But when you're up maintaining, you are within that exceedance. So what is the process? A maintenance person goes out and they do that in tandem with your company or with the telecommunications. Do they turn off actually and then maintain them, or what is the process for that?
They would, if they're going to work in front of the antennas, they would have to turn it off while they work on it.
Okay,
Within that first 3 or 4 feet, whatever that distance is, they would have to turn it off. Obviously, it's only skilled, people who know what they're doing that would be up there that high working on the antennas.
right, okay. That's how they would stay protected. Right, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, any further questions? So we'll go ahead and close the public comment for this item. And any commissioner comments at this point?
Yeah, I think of all places to put them, this is a pretty good spot, really, way up in the air on a park and really away from residential. And, we need them to get our coverage, and I think this is a good spot. And I support it.
Mr. Jones?
I'm not sure if this question should come now or afterwards, but my question is one of the language in the resolution as it's written, because the way it's worded right now, it says, for the construction of a new camouflage wireless communication facility on a replacement like for like. And the implication is we're building a new pole that's taking the place of another one, and that's not the case. We're just taking new equipment and mounting it on an existing pole. It's all new pole? Okay, so the way it reads is correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. That's my concern. I want to make sure that our resolution is reflecting exactly what we're doing. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Hersey?
Yeah, it seems to be in a great location. I hope it's baseball resistant, but I can't imagine that there are too many players out there that would be able to even approach it. It's 7 stories high or whatever. But yeah, it's a good location. It's already had the same type of facility out there, so this one's an easy one to support.
Yeah.
Ms. Camarillo?
I'm in favor of it. It's in a good location, in the location that it's at, as far as not blocking kids running around or playing or, pretty much out of the way. What surprises me the most is when I see the 2 pictures of what their coverage is now and what the expected coverage is when this goes up. It's just amazing that that difference makes that much difference, as far as the coverage. So, to be able to put it there and have that much advantage that far out is just a great idea. So I'm all in favor of that.
Okay, yeah, I think this was a pretty straightforward project, and really have no concerns. I've discussed previously, which one of the questions I had earlier was the fact that there is a threshold about what those numbers need to be for the general public, for occupational, in terms of exposure. And we've seen several of these in recent meetings now come through. And so the question I was raising is whether or not we go right up to those threshold numbers, or if there's any sort of safety margin underneath those threshold numbers that, as a local entity or local government, we might not want them to exceed. But it's my understanding, if I'm not mistaken, is that we can, the applicant can go right up to those numbers, right, to the thresholds.
Yes, that's correct. We do not have a stricter threshold for the city of Camarillo.
Okay. Other than that, I think, it's compatible. It's, we know that it's going to be consistent with equipment that's already there and is intended to improve wireless coverage, and that's something that we can support. So with that, I think if we can have a reading of the resolution, and at what point would we need to make any sort of change for the corrections that we discussed in the presentation?
The change was in the agenda report itself.
Okay.
So we just corrected the record.
Okay,
So the official record of the planning commission is the resolution, so, and it's not in there.
okay, very good.
Okay, so resolution number PC 2022-9, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Camarillo approving a request for a conditional use permit for Dish Wireless for the construction of a camouflage wireless communications facility located at 5501 Mission Oaks Boulevard in the residential plan development, 5 dwelling units per acre maximum zone, further described as CUP 417.
I'll make a motion to waive further reading and vote for adoption.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, moved by Commissioner Edsel, seconded by Commissioner Talent, to waive further reading and vote for adoption. Will you please vote? Okay, that passes unanimously, 5-0.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the report. Okay, the next item is conditional use permit, CUP 418, again, Dish Wireless. And if we can get agenda staff report on this item.
Yes, this presentation will be made by our assistant planner, Mitchell Morrison.
Oh, here we go. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mitchell Morrison. The presentation this evening is on CUP 418. This is a proposed stealth wireless communication facility at 2275 Las Posas Road. The request from the applicant, Jerry Ambrose from Yukon Group, is on behalf of Dish Wireless, and the applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit to install and operate a new stealth wireless communication facility. The project is located at 2275 Las Posas Road. The zoning is CPD, Commercial Planned Development. This is the Camarillo Heights Plaza, the intersection there of Las Posas Road and Arneal. Here's a photo of the existing site. There's a view of the site from Las Posas Road looking northeast, if you're looking at the site from the street. And you can see the existing businesses there and the existing parapet wall. And here's the background. There's currently a one-story commercial building on the property that was approved in 1970 as CPD 212. And in 2010, the Planning Commission approved a roof-mounted telecommunications facility that was CUP 325. and it's currently located behind a raised parapet. The CUP zone allows for a building height of up to 35 feet, and the plans propose a building height of 29 feet and 1 inch, so it meets the height requirement. And here's just a circle around the existing CUP 325. That would be an existing stealth facility that's fully screened from view by the parapet wall. That's an AT&T facility. In terms of the proposed site plan, there would be 6 antennas and 2 per sector. So in the northeast, there'd be Sector A, and southeast, there would be Sector B. Sector G is there in the southwest portion, next to an existing commercial building, and then an equipment platform in the back of the building on the roof. Here's a sector plan. This shows the equipment platform that would be mounted on the roof, the 2 antennas. You can see that there's returns of the edge of the building facade there to fully screen the proposed antennas from view. In terms of proximity, so the nearest residential properties are 52 feet away to the north, and they're 70 feet away to the east and 150 feet to the south. And there are, in terms of existing uses and that are adjoining the site, there's a commercial building. It's actually the grocery outlet that is to the west. And then to the east, there's single-family residential. To the south is the Camarillo Christian Church. And then to the north is the Las Posas Gardens condominiums. The applicant provided photo simulations. So you'll see in the bottom left, there's a simulation of the existing building. Here's what's proposed. So the parapet would be raised as a tower element to enhance the architecture of the building. And I put a little note in there to show that the returns would screen the antennas from view. Here's a photo simulation of the east elevation. There's the existing building. And then with the raised parapet, raise up with that cornice element there to fully screen the equipment from view and be compatible in terms of color and texture to the existing architecture. In terms of elevations, these show the south elevation and the east elevation. The parapet screens the antennas and the equipment platform from view on both elevations. And then if you have all carriers on the site, that's called a composite emissions. And I wanted to just introduce you to this because there is already an existing AT&T facility there. This shows the location of the existing antennas in relation to the proposed antennas from the south elevation. In terms of propagation, this is the first dish network facility proposed, and in terms of propagation, that's described as urban, suburban, and outdoor. Simply put, the urban is indoor coverage strength. Suburban is in a vehicle, and outdoor is if a user had their mobile phone outdoors. So there's currently no coverage. That's what this map shows. And then if this facility were approved, here's the individual contribution to Dish's proposed network in the city of Camarillo. They have 7 other sites planned in the city. So this map, this shows the coverage for if this site was approved. So the dark green is the strong coverage, so you'd be able to have a signal indoors. And the lighter green is suburban if you were in a vehicle. And then the orange is outdoor coverage for people outdoors. Here's the network included. This shows if the other 7 facilities that are planned were approved, what the coverage would look like within the city of Camarillo. And this is the network. And here's the coverage legend, similar to what I discussed before. In terms of environmental review, the project was reviewed under the California Environmental Quality Act and determined to be categorically exempt under Class 3, which is new construction or conversion of small structures. And that class specifically calls out utilities, so this project fits the exemption. The recommended action is adoption of the resolution approving CUP 418, subject to the recommended conditions of approval, and the action is final unless there's an appeal filed within 10 days of the date of your action. This concludes staff's presentation.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Questions from Commission?
Similar question to what I asked previously. The color graphics that are shown in the presentation are not a part of the package as we received it. And I'm wondering if those color renderings, or whatever you want to call them, can be made a part of the attachment to the resolution so that it's clear what the resolution in fact approved as the CUP. Because the package we got is just line drawings, and I think it would be helpful if anyone ever wanted to know in the future, well, what did they really approve? Well, there's a picture of it.
Yeah, we can include that as part of the resolution under the elevations. We'll just insert it in there.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. And thank you for your presentation.
Okay. Commissioner Murphy?
Yes, thank you for the nice presentation. Just wanted to get a feel for the height of the new parapets for the 3 antenna that are going up. Are they equal to the elevation of the existing parapet for CUP 325?
They are, yeah. It's a 29 feet above ground level, and the existing facade, though, that's that yellow color, that one rounds out. There's a significant, so it pops out significantly, so there's some variation in the facade there, but they would rise to the current elevation of the parapet wall.
Is the highest point for that 325 the existing 29 feet, or does it go a little bit higher than that as it goes up to the apex?
Nope. The plans indicate the elevation is 29 feet 1 inch.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mr. Rizzo?
Yeah, these aren't as high up as on the light standards, and they're on the roof there. Are there precautions and things that people can't get on the roof? Are they housed in a secure facility with just authorized people?
Yeah, access to the roof is restricted to the public. So the FCC maximum permissible exposure levels, there's 2. There's one for occupational, people up there working, and then there's one for the general public. Well, by design of the project, public access to the roof is precluded. It's ruled out in advance. And then the conditions of approval specifically require that warning labels be placed on the roof access so that those that are accessing the roof to perform maintenance can perform that maintenance within the FCC MPE, maximum permissible exposure limits.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry,
Just for clarification on the service, and I may have missed this a little bit, but I heard you mention it's for mobile use. Is this also for dish TV type stuff use, or only for mobile phones?
I'll defer to the applicant. My understanding, though, is it's dish mobile. That,
Okay.
yeah, that would be, TV would be a different frequency, but my understanding is it's dish mobile.
Okay. And there were just the fewest, as far as the housing areas, where it was the densest and the strongest.
On
in
the
that-
propagation
In the
map?
area that it's showing, yeah,
On here?
right. I mean, it's still a broad area, but it's just a small part of the total area that it's going to expand out to.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think that's the only question I had on this, just clarifying what use it was. That's all.
Okay, well, kind of going along the lines with Commissioner Talmadge, as far as request to insert illustration in the resolution, I also wanted to ask, in prior reports, That is the technical reports. They would give you figures in bold like they're showing here, which I like to see under a statement of compliance. But it's telling us what it is near the equipment itself, and letting us know that it exceeds the general public thresholds of FCC for exposure, and that and I was appreciative that they have some more robust requirements about lockout and tagout and shutdown for anyone needing to be in that area or working in that area. But what I'd like to see is if they would be able to provide the ground level reading information there instead of just up at the roof level.
Sure. The RF EME report, radio frequency electromagnetic emissions report that accompanied this application did provide simulations of the emissions at both ground level and the roof level. So these antennas would be mounted 15 feet above ground level. And those simulations in the RF EME report, which I believe is included in your agenda packets as attachment 4, indicate that the emissions would be below MPE, maximum permissible exposure. Actually, they're at 0% at the ground level. In terms of the MPE emanating like horizontally from the antennas, that the distance where the MPE levels are exceeded is within 14 feet from the face of those antennas. But that's, again, 15 feet in the air, so the pedestrians and people circulating underneath are safe. And the nearest residential receptor being over 50 feet away is well outside the MPE.
Right. Yeah, and I appreciate that it is there in the report and in the attachment and in our packet, but I just would like to request if in these preparation of these reports, if we can show in this section here, which is kind of like something we can flag early on and see that number before we have to dig far into the technical data, see that ground level figure there along with what they're showing here, it's just roof level
Okay.
exposure limits. That would be helpful, I think.
Yeah, we can do that. We can incorporate that request.
Thank you. Other than that, like I say, it's infrastructure that's part of our cellular network system that I think it's consistent with what they've been doing there and what they want to increase, improve coverage. I have no issue with it at this time. Thank you so much for that report. And so at this point, we'll go ahead and open public comment for this item, and if the applicant wants to address us on this one.
Good evening again, Commissioners. Jerry Ambrose, Yukon Group for Dish Wireless. I don't have anything to add to Mitchell's presentation. I'm here to answer any questions you have. There was one question about Dish TV. So the Dish Network, or Dish Television, as most of you know it as, owns a lot of wireless spectrum. So they are launching a brand-new wireless network similar to AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile. At some point in the future, would they mix all those technologies? I would say probably, but right now it's a wireless competitor. T-Mobile bought Sprint, as you may have read, so that left only 3 carriers. So Dish will now be the 4th carrier in terms of the public's choice. They'll now have 4 carriers to choose from.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very
I'm here
much.
to answer any other questions you might have.
Okay, any other questions of the applicant at this time? Seeing none, thank you all so much. Okay, and we will also open the public comment and add the, at this time, ARC review report, if we have something for this item.
Yeah, we met earlier today as an architectural review committee for the sole purpose of seeing the architecture of it, to make sure that the new addition screening material matched the existing facility, and they're using the same material and rising to the same height as the tallest part of the ceiling, so we thought it was compatible, and it really hides the wiring, and people won't notice a difference. So based on that, we approved it.
Very good, thank you very much. Any questions for the art committee? Yes,
I have one question on having to do with the architectural. Is there going to be a problem, any sort of a visual problem in matching the block on the new area to the lower areas of the tower?
No, my understanding is it'll match in appearance. It's effectively a reinforced fiberglass panel that's designed to match the existing stone veneer in color and appearance.
I just know sometimes block work or anything, it's hard to get exact matches, and then you see a seam going, when one ends and the other one starts. So that was just one of my other thoughts. Thank you.
Oh, of course.
Okay, thank you. So do we have any public comments, communications of any kind for this item? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment for this item. And any commissioner comments?
I don't, I support it and would call for resolution if, depending on what other comments we have.
Okay.
Yeah, I can give my support to this. It works.
I'm chuckling, I'm just wondering how many times Mr. Ambrose is going to be coming to see us. Seems to be a regular here, that's all. Nice to see you again. And thank you for being here.
And I'm in support as well. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much to staff for their comprehensive report and for all the information they've been including, which is really helpful to see, helpful to us as commissioners, and we can go ahead and move forward with this and have a reading of the resolution.
Resolution number PC 2022-10, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Camarillo approving a request for a conditional use permit for Dish Wireless for the construction of a rooftop stealth wireless facility located at 2275 Las Posas Road in the Commercial Plan Development Zone, further described as CUP 418.
I move to waive further reading and vote to adopt.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Murphy, seconded by Vice Chair Vandermeulen to vote to adopt resolution. Please vote. And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. And we'll go ahead and move on to Director's report.
So the only item I have to report tonight is for our meeting schedule for August. We only have the one meeting that we were scheduled for next month, which is August 16th.
16th?
August 16th, yes.
Okay. Okay, any commission comments at this point? Seeing none?
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, we have
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. This is totally off subject from what we've just been talking about. But, we hear a lot about the current drought situation and various requirements by the city for cutting back on irrigation and water use, stressing conservation. And I'm just curious if we can have an update on the status of the new water filtration plant. Is it online? Is it at full capacity? Is it partial capacity? Is it not being used? But it was touted originally as one of the great things coming in the future to help us get through times of crisis as we are in right now. So I spoke with David earlier, and I think he has a status report for us, and I thought it would be beneficial for the commission to hear where we are with the desalter facility and what's going on.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Talmadge. So I did have a conversation this afternoon with our Public Works Director, and he informed me that the desalter facility is operational. They're going through the state permitting process right now, which requires a magnitude of testing, and recalibration. So they're in that process right now. They think they'll be done with that process in about 30 days, and then that's when they can start delivering.
In 30
In
days?
30 days, yep. So that's when they anticipate starting being able to secure the permit to sell water, for one, and that's when it'll become operational and usable by our customers in our service district.
I think that it's important that we get that plant online and running so that it helps a lot of the residents of Camarillo. And it is one of the measures that we have taken to address drought situations. So I think all that can be done to speed that along and make sure that does happen, I think is very important.
Yes, absolutely. And instead of, in addition to just providing additional water to our customers, it's cleaning up the aquifer. That's a brackish aquifer right now.
Right.
And the people who will also benefit from the salt are the local farmers.
Thank you for that. I wasn't aware that we weren't using that. I thought, they had the tours and all that. I thought it was up and operational, but will that change some of these drought rules we're under now if they bring more water online? Or is that, you guys haven't?
That's a good question.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know, I don't have that information with me right now, but I could, ask the question and respond to you guys.
Yeah, just kind of curious, and once it gets approved, it's going to come on full force, or do they have to phase in the use of it? I mean, will we immediately have access to more water?
Yes.
We will, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It seems like we have an effective, communication system in place that's reaching the public because, as far as I can tell, there's been very minimal watering. People seem to be complying with their days of watering. There's a lot of dry-looking lawns out there, and it seems like everybody's sort of sort of coming together to try and deal with this problem. So we appreciate the good communication that gets out to the public. With that, anything else? Okay, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much.